215-704-5144. That's 215-704-5144. Or via email at sonicparade1@yahoo.com. Romeo Delight, the ultimate Van Halen tribute band.
Are you a guitar enthusiast? Want to learn all the tricks and licks of the trade? Searching for that Eddie Van Halen sound and speed? Want to play in the style of Alex Lifeson of Rush, Mick Mars of Motley Crue, or Brian May of Queen? Then sign up for Zoom lessons from the best, Lance Turner, the guitars for the #1 Van Halen tribute band, the Atomic Punks. Lance will take you on as his personal student in the comfort of your own home on Zoom. To sign up, contact Lance via email at lancetLessons@gmail.com. Lessons are at an affordable rate of $40 an hour. Email Lance today at lancetLessons@gmail.com. That's LANCETLESSONS@gmail.com. And learn how to jam like a star.
Hey, this is Mitch Malloy, and you are listening to Dave and Dave Unchained.
Pick up the new coffee table-sized book, The Decade That Rocked, by legendary rock photographer Mark Weissguy Weiss. This 376-page book has hundreds and hundreds of full-color photos that Weiss shot through the 80s for magazines like Circus, Faces, and Hit Parader, featuring bands like Van Halen, Motley Crue, Twisted Sister, Bon Jovi, Skid Row, Guns N' Roses, Ozzy Osbourne, and more. There's even behind-the-scenes stories to go with these colorful, eye-popping pictures. The Decade That Rocked, a new book by rock photographer Mark Weiss, is available for purchase now. Go to thedecadethatrocked.com, where there are exclusive bundles available with extra prints, t-shirts, and even patches. Inquire about the Van Halen bundle, especially made for Dave and Dave Unchained listeners. Order today. The Decade That Rocked. It'll rock your world. Author Greg Renoff is back with a new book, Ted Templeman, A Platinum Producer's Life and Music. The new biography of the record producer Ted Templeman, who went on to produce Van Halen, the Doobie Brothers, Van Morrison, Aerosmith, Sammy Hagar, and more. The book, which runs $19.95, and it's currently available at Amazon.com. From the man who brought you Van Halen Rising comes Ted Templeman, A Platinum Producer's Life and Music, written by Templeman as told to Greg Renoff. Available for only $19.95 at Amazon.com. Order it today.
My son, Wolfgang, was 10 years old before I ever played him any of our records. I started crying. I called Warner Brothers and I asked them for our whole catalog, in a box of each of our records. I pick him up from school, and they're sitting on the bench in the shop here by the studio, and I pick him up from school, and we walk in, and he goes, "What are all these, Dad?" And I went, "Oh, God, 10 years old." And he looks at me, he goes, "This is all you?" I just turned around and cried. He went straight from Britney Spears and NSYNC to Daddy's World. And the next day, quote unquote, verbatim, you know what he said to me? "How come nobody makes music like this anymore?"
All right, Dave, you know what time it is.
Well, my buddy Dave, he don't want me around. He says he's tired of watching me let him down. He just wants a good mailbag. He wants only the best. But he hates disappointment better than all the rest. And he says that he thinks that I'm headed for a whole lot of trouble. Well, he thinks that I'm headed for a whole lot of trouble. Well, he thinks that I'm headed for a whole lot of trouble if I don't nail the mailbag intro.
That's right, it's mailbag time again. And we have a bunch of mail to get through. We're going to start right with it with Nikki. Dave, we're a lot of women, by the way, in this listing. So we're very excited. Got some feminine energy. She says, this is an update from my update. Last week, I was able to see a tribute show, after all, here in Phoenix, the Atomic Punks. And it was an awesome show. The music and performance were great and just enough visual similarity to pay a respectful homage to the mighty VH. A perfect combo of reverence and cheeky fun. I was giddy with joy throughout their 90-minute set. If anybody has the chance, I highly recommend checking them out. Nikki, yes, the Atomic Punks are the best. Check out our episode 57 from September 2020, where we interviewed lead singer Brian Geller and guitarist Lance Turner. So if you haven't listened to that one yet, Nikki, check that one out. Those guys are phenomenal. They've been going on for years. What do you think, Dave?
Oh, yeah. If that's the first tribute band you're going to see, good choice.
Yep.
Good choice.
Absolutely.
Glad you saw them and glad you enjoyed them.
You got it. Letter number 2 comes from Sarah Smythe from London. And she says, will David Lee Roth do anything to commemorate his 30th anniversary of the song Little Ain't Enough and the Little Ain't Enough album? Now, Sarah also said, thank you so much for reading out my question on your last podcast and humoring it. I can sleep so much better now knowing that Valerie Bertinelli wasn't the Yoko Ono of the band. Kerrang! Magazine did publish a story, though, of David Lee Roth having a fling with Valerie Kendall while she was the girlfriend of Alex Van Halen in the 80s. The marriage only lasted 2 months. So that's interesting. That was from Sarah from the UK. Sarah, thank you so much. I appreciate you writing in. No, Roth has done nothing with his catalog. And to be honest with you, Sarah, if he didn't do anything for Eat 'Em and Smile, I don't think he's going to do it for A Little Ain't Enough. That would have happened already. As we mentioned in Van Halen News, he's reissuing Diamond Dave, but no special stuff there. He's redoing the cover. He's putting out a gatefold and pink vinyl and all that stuff, but no extra stuff. So what can I tell you? Valerie Kendall, on the other hand, might make a nice podcast guest if we can possibly rustle her up. So thanks for that idea. What do you think, Dave?
And when we say Dave is coming out with the Diamond Dave album, I don't even think that's Dave. I think that's the record company.
Yeah.
Or, a lot of times...
Magna Carta, by the way. Magna Carta is the name of the record company, if you can believe it.
See, because I was just going to say that many times Warner Brothers will sublease or, license or whatever the term is to another record company who's interested in doing it.
But he was not on Warner Brothers with Diamond Dave. The last Warner Brothers album was Your Filthy Little Mouth. Then he put out DLR Band, and then he put out Diamond Dave.
Yeah, right. No, thank you for the correction.
Those were indies.
Yes, you are correct, sir.
Yeah.
You are correct, sir. There's never been anniversary celebrations of anything having to do with Van Halen, members of the band, the solo catalog. I mean, nobody does nothing, right? No Sam, no Dave, no Van Halen, no nothing.
Absolutely. Letter number 3 comes from Jay Ferry, and he says, on the new Netflix cartoon Chicago Party Ant, the main character is a huge Van Halen fan and has a cool VH logo wallpaper bordering in her condo. Some of the life-size stickers of Dave, Eddie, and Michael Anthony are on there as well. Also, Chickenfoot gets a mention in this obscure bonkers movie Sword of Trust, about an hour and 9 minutes in. I know Dave has really been enjoying the new What If show on Disney Plus. I think about you guys every time I watch it. And he wanted to know if there were any other Van Halen refs that we enjoy in movies. I love when Van Halen refs are made in movies and TV. My favorite is in Adam Sandler's movie The Wedding Singer, when he tells his girlfriend in 1985 to take off his favorite Van Halen shirt before she jinxed the band and breaks them up.
Good call. Good call. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Any ones that you like, Dave? Any mentions that you enjoy?
No, I couldn't really think of any, but when you said that one, that's definitely the one. Of course, there's always, I think it was the Better Off Dead with the dancing hamburger.
Yep. That's the one there for sure.
Yep.
Letter number 4 comes from Francesco Greco, and he says, looking through my vinyl collection, I came across A Little Ain't Enough on vinyl, still sealed. I am understanding in the vinyl world, it's a very rare piece, especially in that condition. What are your thoughts and opinions on this? I dearly love this album, and in my opinion should have been Dave's second album rather than his third. I'm curious in knowing your standout tracks and favorite from this era. Well, I want to tell you, Mr. Francesco, A Little Ain't Enough on vinyl, sealed the way you have it, roughly in your condition there, goes for about $124 on eBay. We also want to tell you we did an entire A Little Ain't Enough episode in January of 2021, episode number 61. My favorite songs are probably Tell the Truth, Shoot It, Baby's on Fire. What about you, Dave?
From that album?
Yeah.
From that, yeah. No, A Little Ain't Enough. I'm not crazy about Baby's on Fire.
Okay.
Probably Jason Becker song at the end, Drop in the Bucket.
That's
Great
a good
way
one
to end the album. Some of the bluesier songs I like Sensible Shoes. My problem with that album is when I listen to the songs, I hear other songs that they sound a lot alike, which we talked about in a prior podcast.
He did. In that podcast, Dave brought it up to me, and we actually did a side-by-side comparison because I love the song Tell the Truth, and he says, Dave, that's Black Velvet by Alana Miles, and I was like, oh, shit, you're right. Yeah.
So, yeah, the thing is, like, there's some good songs on there, and, I mean, great performances by Jason Becker, but there's a little too much deja vu for me on that one. But I still, by chance anybody on this podcast has not heard that album, it's definitely worth listening to. Dave gets back to some rocking stuff on that album. It's a little more traditional rock. It's not necessarily hair metal, but worth listening to, for sure.
Totally. Letter number 5 comes from Felipe Irwin, and he says, you mentioned the Van Halen Eruption box set last month, 6 discs of bootleg greatness, and I followed your advice and got it right away. What a gem! I've heard pieces here and there, but it's nice to have it all together. Probably the most unofficial box set we'll get until something official is released. And it's kind of strange listening to the Mighty Van Halen covering Kiss, Aerosmith, and ZZ Top. I wonder if on the famed night that Gene Simmons saw Van Halen playing at the Starwood, did they play Rock and Roll All Night? Thanks for reading my poem for Wolfgang a few months ago, Felipe Irwin. Well, I want to tell you, I think that box set is a total steal. It's gone up in price since the last time I mentioned it. Van Halen playing covers, it's so funny. Whenever they do those songs, they Van Halenize everything, as Dave used to say, and it sounds like Van Halen. It doesn't even sound like the original songs. I don't think they played Rock and Roll All Night the night Gene was there, because by that time, they were playing a lot of their own originals, because they had a ton of originals at that point. But I think if they did play Rock and Roll All Night, I think Gene would have boasted about it, because Gene loves to pound his chest. What do you think, Dave?
That would have been awesome if they did, but I don't think they did, because at that point in their career, they were really focused on playing originals.
Yes.
So maybe they did one cover at the end of the night, but I don't think it was that one, because I think we would have heard that in the story by now if that was the case.
Definitely. Letter number 6 comes from Southeast nice guy Kurt Lancios. Or
Nope. I listened to his podcast.
Okay, how do you say it?
And it's Lawnclough.
Lawnclough.
Wow. Lawnclough.
Wow, I have to be honest with you. I think if I stared at that last name from now until next year, I couldn't come up with Lawnclough. Wow, okay, Lawnclough.
Well, it's not like you have a French last name. Oh, wait.
Oh, shit. That's true. Well, I tell you, like everybody calling me Criblez. Okay, so that's
right.
I'm paying the piper there. So then he says here, Van Halen Eruption Live CD box set from the August 2021 episode. He's received it and got it for just over $20 with shipping costs. Now it's $35.99. So he was very excited about that, and he wanted to let us know that he was putting a care package in the mail to us, because he said we're the best VH podcast ever. I really enjoyed the last episode with Mitch Malloy and Pete Thorne. By the way, I'm really glad Mitch is getting to celebrate his friendship with Eddie and the fact that he almost became the third lead singer for the Mighty VH. Yes, Mr. Lawnclough, I want to say thank you so much. He sent Dave and I a can of Van Hazen Hazy Pale Ale. So I know he loves his plug, so we want to tell everybody to check out his Retro Zest podcast, RetroZest, Retro Zest podcast, because he loves them plugs. Dave, anything you have to add?
No, I also wanted to say thank you to Mr. Lawnclough for his very generous gift. I think that might be like the third person from the podcast who has mailed us beer. So I would like to thank everybody who has done so.
Yeah, absolutely.
I haven't tried it yet. Sit in the refrigerator. It's cool. I also want to compliment Kurt on the recent episode he did on the Retro Zest podcast with the interview he did with Ken Mills, the guy who is in charge of the Zilch podcast, which is about the monkeys. I thought it was very interesting, and Ken has probably forgotten more about the monkeys than I will ever know. It was good stuff.